Welcome to the 11 Warriors post-game report. Jason Priestis, Chris Lauterbach live at the 11W bunker. Chris, Ohio State gets out of Rutgers with a 52-13 win. A lot to like in that game.
Yeah, a lot to like. Second half was a little sleepy. Wiping out some, some
Yeah.
of that eye gunk there. Might have
Yeah.
dozed off. No, I didn't. But that's the kind of game you wanted to see, right? Like I fully admit I did not expect that kind of spanking. Welcome it, but it was a hell of a first half that led to the second half being able to play a lot of guys.
Yeah, almost 400 yards for the Bucks in the first half. Jumped out to a 45-7 win, or 45-7 halftime lead. Let's talk a little bit about how that happened. They went up 14-0 early. Travion Henderson with a 44-yard touchdown run on Ohio State's second offensive play of the game to put them up 7. Rutgers gets the ball back. Pick 6 by Denzel Ward almost immediately after.
Denzel Burke.
Or Denzel Burke. Yes, Denzel Ward. We could use Denzel Ward.
Similar ilk, yeah.
We could use him this year. Yeah, Denzel Burke, pick 6. 23-yarder there to make it 14-0, 3:27 into the game.
It was early.
Had 2 plays on the board. They're up 14-0. Continue to put points up. Field goal. Garrett Wilson had a touchdown soon after that 32-yarder to make it 24-0. Rutgers gets on the board with a 75-yard catch and run.
Yeah.
I mean, good play.
The only real breakdown of the game, when the game mattered, that was the only real breakdown, right? Like Hickman got beaten coverage one-on-one.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure what really happened after that. Were they supposed to hand it off? Was it zone? Was it, what was it? Seemed like there was some confusion there. But you take that away, especially in the first half. Rutgers had 142 yards of total offense in the first half. 75 came on one play.
Yikes.
If you take away that pass, which you can't, but just thinking about the secondary, throwing that pass out the window in the first half, Ohio State's defense gave up 9 completions on 18 attempts for 30 yards with an interception. That was a pick 6.
Yeah.
So you felt real good about how the secondary is kind of rounding into form. With Cameron Martinez obviously carving out a role and Burke proving to be the best player on defense.
Yeah, just a freshman. He's already so good back there. Bucks ended up having 3 interceptions on the afternoon. Later in that first half, Mitch Rossi, tight end / fullback extraordinaire, gets the first touchdown for at least in the books tight end. He's listed as a tight end. Little 1-yarder. No one was expecting him to catch the ball. He caught the ball. Made it, 31-6 at the time. C.J. Stroud found Jeremy Ruckert soon after, got the second tight end touchdown reception of the year, 38-6 in the second quarter. The Bucks at that point in time had 6 possessions, six scoring drives basically, were just all Ohio State at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Got another one, a 56-yarder to Chris Olave. It might have been the best play of the game in your eyes at least. I thought I heard you mention that earlier.
Yes. Stroud, had a great first half, obviously 17 of 23 in the first half. Had a couple drops as part of that with 330 yards and 5 touchdowns. On that particular play, that was for the game. On that particular play, he dropped back, felt some pressure, slid to his right, stepped up, moved left, and hit Olave in stride, rolling to the left. Allowed Olave to beat his man to the corner, race up the sideline for a 56-yard touchdown on what was probably about a 15 or 20-yard pass. So, play of the game for me for Stroud. He looked confident, he looked poised, he looked healthy on the shoulder, unleashed a laser there. So, great play from Stroud.
45-6 at the half. Bucks would get 1 touchdown in the second half. Rutgers got another one in the second half as well, and that's our final 52-13. Ohio State's 4-1 on the season now. Became just the 3rd team in Big Ten history with 20 straight conference wins.
Nuts, man.
Fun bit of trivia, man.
Yeah,
the other 2 teams to do
wild.
it? The other 2 teams to do it? Buckeye teams.
I was going to say, I'm guessing they probably
both this century.
held out of Columbus. Yeah,
been a pretty good 20 years up here. Kids are all right, man. We just talked about Burke. He might be the best player on that defensive roster right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Travion Henderson left the game. Got dinged up a little bit. Expected to be back, but explosive. Everything we've seen out of him so far is he's going to be a superstar at running back. So we got a stud true freshman on the offensive side, stud true freshman on the defensive side. Certainly portends for some great things in the future.
Yeah, and they're not the only ones. You mentioned Travion Henderson, 8 carries, 71 yards, had the 44-yard touchdown, averaged 8.9 per carry on the day and in limited duty after he took that pop. He went into the tent for a while, came back out without a helmet, so it looked like his day was definitely done. Dave mentioned at the half, hey, nothing serious. So either, maybe, concussion kind of watch type thing, or, hey, he's fine, but there's no point in, putting miles on his odometer. We've talked about before. I mean, everybody wants to see Henderson run wild because we saw, we've seen what he can do. But the
Right.
fact is, he's a true freshman who didn't even play last year, right?
No.
With the season basically being canceled. So, but again, him and Burke aren't the only ones. My man, I've been raving about Tyleek Williams all season. Had a sack, tackle for loss, forced fumble on one play today, late in the second half.
Blew some
Really,
things up, didn't
I
he?
think it was the only sack that the defensive line had today. If we're
Yeah.
going to be critical, Egbuka didn't do much as a true freshman today. He's made his mark on kickoff return early, and he had the 85-yard reception last week.
For sure.
But JTT and Jack Sawyer mop up duty, but he had a PBU out of Sawyer, and he had a tackle for loss out of JTT. So that's good. And obviously Jesse Murko, who's a freshman. I know he's like 37 years old, but he's a freshman. Still doing work as a punter for Ohio State. So yeah, a lot of young guys on the roster that have carved out meaningful roles for this year.
Yeah, Mirko's the only guy on the team who's actually a tenured professor at the university. Like, he got the padded elbows on the jacket. Yeah, good guy.
Corduroy.
Yeah, let's step back on that Olave, that 56-yard, or he had a second-half touchdown, too, right? He had a 56-yard in the first half, he had another second-half touchdown. Beautiful ball in the back of the end zone from Stroud. That touchdown moved him to the third all-time in Ohio State receiving touchdowns.
Yeah,
for
27, right?
Yeah, tied
Yeah.
Chris Carter. Very nice to see Carter send a tweet, congratulating him.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you get mentioned Chris Carter, you're probably doing something pretty well.
You know what I liked about that before you move on was that, at the half, the game was over, right?
Right.
And, we were talking like, okay, what's going to happen? Is Stroud going to play? What are they going to do? I think, obviously, the game's at hand, but I like what Day did there. He's trying to prepare his team for, let's go into the half, let's make some adjustments. We're coming out with the first team. Let's build on what we learned, right, in the first half.
Right.
And they went on a 10-play, 75-yard drive, capped by the Olave catch, as you mentioned. That made it really 7 with Stroud at the helm, with Stroud under center or in shotgun, made it 7 for 7 scoring points. Right, you had 6 touchdowns and you had a field goal with him engineering the offense today. With that, through that first one of the second half, again 10-play, 75 yards. That the knockout punch was already delivered, but to come out and do that, Day wanted his guys to come in out of the half, not look sloppy, sleepwalk. That the defensive starters played the first series as well, looking to prep these guys for tougher contests ahead.
Yeah, we'll have some of those soon. Speaking of Stroud, man, 17 of 23, 330, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. By far, in my opinion, his best passing game of the season. I mean, everything was on the money. Had a few drops that would go in there as well, or otherwise he's got even better numbers. And it took last week off against Akron to heal the shoulder, and it certainly looks like it paid off. And did not see too many people on Twitter clamoring for him to be benched this week.
Yeah, I get it, right? You appreciate the passion of the Ohio State fan base for sure, but I mean, what this continues to tell me is that one, in the early going, Ohio State, they start out with Minnesota and Oregon, and I know Minnesota's trash, but that was a close game.
Right.
Then they go into Oregon. It's not like they started out with whatever, scrub you and a cupcakes where he could really get his feet wet. Remembering, again, he had not thrown a collegiate pass until that point. So, yeah, first half today, he's 14 of 18 with 4 touchdowns for 273 yards. We know 2 of those were drops.
Unreal.
So, that felt pretty good. And, again, after the half, coming in and just, leading them right down the field was exactly what you wanted to see from Stroud. But, again, forget the numbers. The dude looked confident, had a little bit of swagger today. He looked healthy. I think Ramsey had wrote about it. I think we've talked about it as well.
The right reads.
He just his demeanor, right? Those first couple weeks, he just looked a little sluggish. His head was down when he made mistakes. Today, he looked more poised and in control, and then obviously also healthy. We didn't really talk too much. You mentioned Garrett Wilson's touchdown in the first half. I think it was 32-yard or something like that. Great pass over the middle, right? Just delivered that thing right in rhythm, right on point for Wilson to take it in for the touchdown. A lot of good things from Stroud today. He just looks super confident and really healthy.
Yeah, threw some darts, was on target pretty much all day. This is a guy, we've been very vocal about how some of the fans are getting a little ahead of themselves, calling for other guys to start, even after the loss to Oregon. It was tough and all that, but Stroud's the Elite 11 MVP in high school. Look at the guys that won that.
Not a
no
bum
chumps.
Yeah,
He won the Elite 11 MVP.
Right.
And so he's not just some random guy. We got a 5-star young guy. Let's get him out there and replace him. No, he's really good himself, and we're going to see him the rest of the season. I don't think in my mind right now there's no debate whatsoever about the quarterback job.
Oh yeah. I didn't think there was a debate before today. I mean, a healthy Stroud is your best option. If you want to criticize Kerry Combs and the defense. Hey, do it, right?
Right.
Like there's reason to do that.
Right.
There was reason before this season to do it. I think Stanford's quarterback just died. There was reason to do it, before that. But Ryan Day, thinking about as a play caller, as a developer, as an eye for talent.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what are we talking about, right? So I felt like, if you're going to have confidence in anything, have confidence in Ryan Day's ability to identify who the best quarterback is and develop that person.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
if you're talking about linebackers or you're talking about the defense overall, okay,
Yeah.
there's evidence to say, hey, as a fan, you probably got some gripes.
Sure.
How has Day let you down in those categories,
Never.
right? So,
And as a former quarterback himself, he knows how important confidence is. You don't give
Yeah.
a guy an early yank.
Yeah.
You damage him forever.
Right.
Right. He's going to ride him out.
I think that's true, but I think he never felt like that was the right thing to do. I think he felt like the best quarterback that he had was on the field up until last week when he decided to rest him.
What about the defense? This is the third game that Matt Barnes has had full control of calling the plays on the defensive side. It's Rutgers. I don't want to sound like Rutgers, Alabama, but this is like a better Rutgers than we're used to. Greg Schiano's building a decent thing for, I call it Rutgers good. It's got a little asterisk next to it.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's Rutgers good, though.
Yeah.
And they looked amazing today.
They did. They looked amazing. I mean, really got to look at the first half because that's when the second half a lot of guys were playing games already decided kind of thing. And the first half we mentioned 142 total yards surrendered, 75 on one play, gave up 3.1 yards per carry, 12 rushes for 37 yards, something like that. I already mentioned the passes, right? You take away the 75-yarder, 9 of 18 for 30 yards with a pick six. What do you want, right? They only gave up 5 first downs in the first half on 31 plays and 6 points. You're going to take that to the bank anytime you can get it, right? So I think you got to feel good about what the defense did. Again, it's Rutgers. I think they were number 99th in total offense, so obviously not great.
No.
But Michigan beat them 20-13.
Yeah.
I think it was, right?
Yeah.
So not that Michigan is
At
the
home.
litmus test,
And
but
Ann Arbor's, right?
But yeah, you got to feel good about what the defense did. To me, it's not about so much what they did today. It's the fact that they are definitely getting better. Roles
Steady
are getting
progression,
defined.
yep.
The different types of looks and coverages. We saw zone a ton today. We saw 2 safeties today a lot. We talked about you never saw any of that with Combs, man press, single high, same thing. Everybody knew what was coming. Just the fact that the defense is getting more developed. And that guys' roles are becoming very clear. Hey, hopefully that's something where you can build up and you're playing your best defense a month and 2 months from now.
Yeah, certainly seems to be heading in the right direction. Let's look at some other games out there. Oregon and Stanford in a barn burner out in the Bay Area.
You see this hit on this quarterback?
I just did, man. Oregon's
Wow,
up
that was a
7.
headshot. That was actually dirty. I just saw him laying on the ground at first. But man, that was a
Oregon.
headshot.
Yeah, that's
Not dirty. He was it was Thibodeau.
Oh,
you see that was
Thibodeau,
Thibodeau,
yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think he wasn't leading with his head. He was jumping to deflect the pass. But wow, that was a headshot.
Stanford with the ball, under 2 to play, down 7 out there. Oklahoma, no problem at all over Kansas State, 37-31 in Manhattan.
It was close for a little bit, right?
It
They
was.
kind of ran away from him.
It was. They ran away late. Final in Alabama at Tuscaloosa, Crimson Tide 42, Ole Miss 21.
Lane got lane.
Yeah, the spread net I think was 14.5. I thought they would make that a little bit of a better game. Athens, Georgia, number 2, Georgia 37, number 8, Arkansas 0. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. I mean, I can get where Georgia would win the game, but 37 zip definitely was not what I was expecting from that one.
Certainly look, Bama and Georgia certainly look, in my eyes right now, to be the 2 best teams in college football at the moment.
Yep.
Big win for the Bearcats, man. Number 7 Cincinnati go into Notre Dame and beat the Irish 24-13. Got to feel good for what Luke Fickell's building.
Yeah.
Also to beat the guy that just left your program and take another job, Marcus
Right.
Freeman, the
Right.
defensive coordinator.
Well, and they led wire to wire on that one, right? It seemed
Mhm.
like, the better team was in control the whole way. The only way I thought Notre Dame could possibly, win that game is if they were maybe better in the trenches, just, being bigger, outweighing Cincinnati's, fronts. But, that wasn't the case. And, hats off to Coach Fickell. Great for him.
In Madison, Wisconsin, number 14 Michigan 38. Wisconsin Badgers 17. Badgers fall to 1-3. Michigan's 5-0. They won a good game in October. I mean, we know Wisconsin trash, but it's a name.
It's early
game.
October, yeah.
So, how real are the Wolverines?
I mean, they're better than they've been. I think that's fair to say. I don't think we know how good they are. One thing I do continue to see, I watched a lot of today's game, was I'm just still not sure about the quarterback play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, typically the team with the better quarterback in college football is going to win more often than not. I don't think that's rocket science.
Yep.
And I'm not sold on either of those guys.
Okay.
Today you saw a lot of switching between McCarthy and McNamara. Like, within series, right? So it's almost like situational.
That's tough.
That sucks, right?
Yeah,
Nobody wants to see that. So I think over the long haul, McCarthy's probably going to prove to be the guy. But yeah, I would still, if I'm a Michigan fan, I'm not going to get too cocky, because if you've got 2 quarterbacks, then that means you don't have 1 starter,
right?
And I don't know if that's the method for being an elite team.
So we're watching Stanford's offense trying to do offensive things poorly in the
it's
background
true.
here. It's bad. I like where Michigan's at in the sense that their fans are feeling really good.
Oh, same.
But they got a little bit of angst.
Keep winning.
They're seeing this Rutgers score, and they're comparing scores. They're saying, oh man, same thing's going to happen. So it's creeping up. Again, Ohio State with a 52-13 win over Rutgers today. Bucks moved to 4-0. What did we learn? What's your big takeaway from it?
I mean, my big takeaway today is that when Stroud is healthy, the dude can do work, right? I mean, I felt really good about what he was bringing to the table today. And the other piece would be, I feel like the secondary, not even just the secondary, the defense over the back 7 mostly. Yeah. It's weird. You came into the season, defensive line, proven commodity, blah blah blah. Back 7's got to do their got to come along. The defensive line has been okay, but it's really been the defensive tackles that have been really good.
Yeah.
The defensive ends, frankly, if we're being real, to me, have been a huge letdown.
Huge
letdown. Now, and that was even muted for me because I wasn't necessarily buying the Zach Harrison hype or the Tyreek Smith hype. Like, hey, this year they're going to make the leap. Well, hey, it's about time.
Yeah.
And they still haven't done it, if we're being honest. Up the middle, though, Haskell Garrett's playing well. Tyreek Williams is a true freshman. Well, they say 6'2", 315, and we were talking at the half how he lost weight to get to 315, right? Because he ballooned up during COVID, and he's been awesome. But I think Laurinaitis mentioned on the broadcast 10 of the 13 sacks or whatever had come from defensive tackles, not defensive ends. To me, that's still a little bit of concern. Linebacker, maybe. Simon was nicked up again today. Mitchell's doing his thing. He's fine. But Simon needs to be healthy for this team. But I really like what Cameron Martinez and Denzel Burke are giving the secondary for sure. So, again, it's about progress, right?
Yeah.
I'm now a believer that the defense will, has a chance to continue to get better. Not that it's just going to plateau and be stanky before running the same look every play.
Yeah. Maryland comes to town next Saturday. Comes to the Shoe for a noon kickoff. We'll be back here for the 11 Warriors halftime and postgame shows then. But it's a schedule, too, that's kind of backloaded, too, in terms of the harder Big Ten teams.
Yeah,
on the backside,
absolutely.
you got Sparty, you got the Wolverines, you got Penn State.
Penn State coming.
A few games, Indiana and Maryland to get your breath a little bit, and then you got to buckle down. And we'll see what this defense, we'll see if they've come as far as we think they have. The offense can score with any team on earth, but if they want to go where they want to go, their defense needs to step up.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see some incremental progress there. So
absolutely.
We'll be back next week for that. Thanks so much for tuning in to the 11 Warriors post-game show. Again, on number 11 Ohio State with a 52-13